Welcome to another episode of A Moment with an Archivist. If you joined me before, you know I explain a bit about the process of preserving and making these incredible teachings available and accessible. This week I wanted to go back and review some of the things we do and share the why or the heart behind the work we do. I want to provide a glimpse into why someone would care enough to go wherever these teachings were stored and bring them home, to then spend countless hours cleaning audio tapes so they could be preserved as digital files. And it didn't stop with the audio. Many of the PDF files I showed you a week or so back were done by faithful volunteers long before I ever came along. They did this work decades ago, long before artificial intelligence, advanced scanners, or modern editing programs were ever available. Why would someone spend hours staring at a raw transcript of jumbled words, meticulously fixing the typos and formatting the text, and then freely make them available, these beautiful PDFs for anyone to enjoy? Why all the sacrifice? It isn't just to build a cold digital museum of history. It's all about the love, and not just any old love, God's pure love. Let's listen as Dr. Wierwille, the teacher, explains the heart of God and his love towards the world.
For God so loved. God is the greatest one. He's a capital O, capital N, capital E, because we have only one God. He is the greatest one. So loved. That makes him the greatest lover. The world. That's the greatest number of people in the whole outfit. That not only makes him the greatest one, the greatest lover, but for the greatest number. That he gave. That makes him the greatest giver. His only begotten what? And to give your only begotten Son makes it the greatest sacrifice. That whosoever, the whosoever makes it the greatest invitation. Believeth in him. That's the greatest simplicity, just to believe in him. Should not perish is the greatest deliverance, but have everlasting life is the greatest gift. That's John 3:16. God is the greatest one. He's the greatest lover, the greatest number, the greatest giver, the greatest sacrifice, the greatest invitation, the greatest simplicity, the greatest deliverance, the greatest gift. For God so loved what? The world, that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life.
What a wonderful love life we have the privilege of living because our Father so loved, because his Son, Jesus Christ, so loved. In today's teaching, Dr. Wierwille begins with Ephesians 5:1 and 2, which reads, "Be ye therefore followers of God as dear children, and walk in love, as Christ also hath loved us, and hath given himself for us, an offering and sacrifice to God for a sweet-smelling savor." He explains that God so loved that he gave. Jesus Christ so loved that he gave. And you and I must so love that we have to give. Let's listen as he explains more about the why.
That's why I'd just like to share this message that I've shared with you tonight about Christ being formed in you. Because this is what our nation needs. To see that Christ in you with that love of God in the renewed mind in manifestation. Your next door neighbor needs it. There is nothing so completely satisfying as the knowledge of the Word in the renewed mind in manifestation, bringing that love to people. You will never be so blessed in your life until you're blessed by helping somebody else with the love that Christ has given you. You will never be so blessed until you learn to forgive like Christ has forgiven you. To bring peace to someone's soul because Christ first brought it to you. That's why my prayer too is that Christ be formed in you, and that we can so love that we will be wonderful men and women of God whom the world can look at, and if they want to see, they can again see Christ. For God so loved that he gave. Jesus Christ so loved that he gave. How can we say we love God when we don't even love our fellow brothers and sisters?
So why? Because of God's love. It's God's love that has worked in the hearts of so many and continues to work just as dynamically today to preserve and make available. And remember, although I stay kind of focused on my area of the shop, archive.org, there are other resources available for your spiritual enrichment and enjoyment. For example, this teaching I'm highlighting today is from a teaching taught way back in November of 1974. And you can find this teaching by following the link below. It's track 286 on the Sunday Night Teaching Series by the teacher. You'll also find a verbatim transcript of the teaching under the download sections in the PDFs. But what if you prefer reading on Kindle? Well, remember those volunteers I talked about at the beginning who spent countless hours editing and refining those transcripts? They didn't stop with PDFs. On our e-library site, eternallyblessed.org, you'll find many of these teachings available in multiple formats. For example, if you go to eternallyblessed.org and type in the search box the title of today's teaching and follow the link, you will find other formats lovingly preserved and accessible to you. Some are designed for Kindle readers, others for tablets and phones, allowing the text to automatically adjust to the screen you're using. Because preservation isn't just about saving something, it's about making it available in a way people can actually use it. Remember, you can also enjoy our teachings on our daily podcast on CyberBlessed, follow us on Facebook, and reach us for questions or comments at preserveandmakeavailable@gmail.com. Today, I know many of you may be celebrating and honoring the fathers in your lives. Thank you for sharing this time with me to honor and glorify God, our Father, the greatest lover, and the greatest giver to you and me. I trust I'll see you back here next week for another episode of A Moment with an Archivist.